Was it a light beer? Was it a dark beer? Was it sour? Was it sweet? Did it taste kind of like a pine tree? Welcome back, everybody, to the Beer Feelings podcast, where together we are going to indulge in life and craft beer. My name is Natalie Jones, and I am your host. Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure you click on that subscribe button so you don't miss out on a single boozy episode. We have some really fantastic topics that we are going to chat about over the next couple of weeks, so don't want you guys to miss out. Here, I'll wait. Click that button now and then come back here in a second. All right, we're good? Awesome. Well, welcome back. Now, on this episode, right out of the gate, I want to address everybody that says that they don't like beer. If you've made it this far and you are one of those individuals, I'm talking to you, gal pal. And if you do like beer, this would be a really good episode to send to a friend that you've either been trying to get into beer or you just genuinely like hanging out with them and you'd like to go to a brewery with them in the future, but you don't know if they'd like it. Send them here first. I'm going to take them on a little journey. It's going to be great. We're all going to love beer by the end of this. So when I hear that individuals don't like beer, it typically comes down to kind of three categories of reasons. Either one, I don't drink beer, or I don't like beer because I don't like how it tastes. Number two, it makes me feel sick. Or number three, I'm allergic to it. So let's break that down. So let's start with, I don't like how it tastes. If this sounds like you and you have said these things, I have a few questions for you. No need to say them out loud because I won't be able to hear you, but just kind of reflect on these. So when you've had beer that you did not enjoy, what did you have? Was it a light beer? Was it a dark beer? Was it sour? Was it sweet? Did it taste kind of like a pine tree? Cool. We've got that. Number two, how many different beers have you tried? Is the beer that you didn't like the only beer that you've experienced? Or maybe the types of beer that you've drank before were all light or all dark? And my third question for you is, who were you drinking with? Or how did you feel on that day? So we've got our answers, at least in our head. So the good news, if you are falling into this category of, I don't like how beer tastes, you are absolutely in the right spot. The whole point of this podcast is to help individuals like beer even more. Or if we haven't found a beer that you like yet, that's what we're going to do. On this podcast, in different episodes, we're going to talk about different styles of beer, and I'm going to make sure that they're articulated in a way that you can imagine how they taste before you invest any money in them. So we've taken all of the risk off of the table and made this a very safe and comfortable space. So that should take care of a few of the answers. And I mentioned who you were drinking with because I bet if you've only had a couple of beers and it wasn't a great experience, honestly, it could have been because you were with somebody that you just weren't thrilled with. Maybe it was a really bad couple of dates. Maybe it was after a long day at work and you picked a fight with your boss and you went out with some friends and they threw an IPA at you. I don't know. But I would just say, if you are in this category of you don't drink beer or you don't like beer because you don't like it tastes, listen to a couple more episodes and I bet we can find a beer that you're excited about. And if not, send me a message and we'll figure it out together. So our next category of non-beer drinkers is, it made me feel sick, which is totally fair. One time I got food poisoning from a fast food restaurant and I didn't eat at it for at least 15 years. But now I have tried it once more. I have not received food poisoning again. And I'm kind of bummed that I missed out on those 15 years. So if beer has made you feel sick, I see you, I hear you, I understand you. We're still going to work to get over this and we're going to work to overcome it. And I just want to point out a few things. So I have some questions for you too. So once more, what did you drink? Did you try anything else? And have you had other beers? So unlike the last group of individuals on perhaps you just haven't tried enough to find the right flavor. If you haven't had a whole bunch of beers, or you've always been drinking out of the same brewery, it's possible that there's a cleanliness issue that is making your tum a little grumbly and upset. So if you've only been to one brewery and you always feel like you just kind of have a little tum ache at the end, it's possible that they didn't clean their lines properly. It's possible that the glass wasn't cleaned properly. It's possible that it was a bad batch of beer. Cleanliness is next to godliness, most of all in craft beer. So I would encourage you, if it just kind of gave you a rumbly tummy, let's experiment a little bit more. I'll come here, I'll hold your hand. It's going to be a lovely journey. Or it's possible that you had a food sensitivity. It's possible that you have, some kind of reaction to gluten, which brings us to our third category is I don't drink beer because I'm allergic to it. I think I've said this is the most common answer to all three of these, but I hear them quite a bit when I say that I work in craft beer for a living. So the good news here is my sister is a celiac. So I don't know all the rules, but I'm pretty familiar with what being gluten sensitive versus being allergic to gluten exactly means. And the great news is, with how popular craft beer is becoming, there are more and more options for different flavor preferences as well as different food sensitivities. So we'll probably do a whole episode on gluten-free, gluten-reduced, gluten, what is gluten? Do you like gluten? All the things. But something I can confidently tell you is if you are totally allergic to gluten, there are beers that are 100% gluten-free. They don't have any of those little, I almost call gluten molecules bugs, but they're not bugs. They're protein chains. But there are beers that never touch gluten, never involve gluten. And there are some really fabulous breweries that excel at this type of brewing. And if maybe your allergy isn't that extreme, maybe you're not a celiac, but you're just sensitive to gluten, there are different gluten-reduced beers where what they do is they drop a little enzyme after they've cooked up the batch of beer, and it helps split up those protein chains to make it a little bit easier to digest. So for those of you that don't like the taste of beer, we're going to fix it along the way. We're going to try some stuff together. For those of you that got sick, hopefully we're going to heal our food poisoning wound and we're going to try again. And for those of you who are allergic, I'm just going to point you in the right direction to engage with this really cool product in a way that doesn't hurt your body. So once more, the whole point of this podcast, ladies and gentlemen, is to help you find a beer that makes you just so full of joy that you want to explode. I know that this is possible because if you missed episode 1, I did not like beer in the beginning. I thought it tasted like bread water, and bread water does not taste very good. So if I can go through this and I can find beer that I am beyond thrilled to drink, I know you can do it too. So if you are enjoying going along on this beer journey with me so far, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you're already a beer lover and you have some friends in mind that fall into one of those 3 groups, feel free, just scooch this episode right over to them. We will make them a beer believer. It's going to be fabulous. We're just going to grow this Gal Pal beer drinking tribe bigger and bigger and bigger, a little bit more every episode. But that is it for me, my friends. Make sure to tune in next time for another exciting craft beer adventure. Cheers, everybody.